Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're diving into something that is literally working tirelessly behind the scenes every single second of your day. We're talking about your amazing brain. It controls absolutely everything you do. I mean, it's what makes it possible for you to think, learn, create, and feel. And yeah, even the stuff you don't actively think about at all, like blinking, breathing, your heartbeat, all of that is managed right up there.
Now, trying to actually make sense of the brain, it isn't easy. To give you an idea of the sheer scale of what we're dealing with here, a famous scientist once called it the most complex thing we have yet discovered in our universe. Just let that sink in for a second. Out of all the stars, all the galaxies out there, the single most complicated thing we know of is sitting right inside your head. How wild is that?
And what's truly unbelievable is the crazy contrast between the brain's physical reality and what it actually achieves. We are talking about a small, gray organ that weighs less than 1.5 kilos. Yet this relatively tiny package makes us entirely who we are. It houses our personalities, our memories, our movements, and it fundamentally dictates how we understand the whole world around us.
So how can something so incredibly small do so much? Well, the secret lies in its fundamental building blocks, which are called neurons. These microscopic cells are basically the tiny messengers making your life possible. Whenever you dream, laugh, think, or even just move a muscle, it's because signals are actively racing between these neurons.
And it's not like you just have a few of these cells working hard. Amazingly, your brain contains about 100 billion of these microscopic neurons. Literally 100 billion. All packed tightly into that organ weighing less than 1.5 kilos. It is just an absolute biological marvel of packaging and efficiency.
To really help us wrap our minds around a number that massive, because it's hard to visualize, think about it like this. If you sat down right now and just started counting your neurons one by one, it would take you over 3,000 years to count them all. That is the astronomical scale of the workforce inside your head.
And this workforce is incredibly busy. Believe it or not, the activity in your brain never ever stops, even when you're completely fast asleep. Actually, your neurons create and send more messages than all the phones in the entire world combined. Seriously, every text, every call, every data transfer on Earth is totally overshadowed by the sheer volume of communication happening right behind your eyes.
Now, obviously, all this non-stop communication requires energy. We know that one single neuron creates only a very, very small, microscopic amount of electricity. But when you take all 100 billion of those neurons working together, they can actually produce enough electricity to power a literal light bulb. So yeah, your brain is quite literally illuminating. So, with billions of cells generating global-scale traffic and electricity, it begs a pretty fascinating question. Exactly how fast does your brain work? Like, what is the actual speed of thought?
Let's look at a real-world example to break this down. Imagine you're outside and suddenly a bee lands right on your foot. Immediately, neurons in your skin spring into action, sending this alert signal racing up your legs straight to your brain. Your brain instantly processes this and sends a message right back down, telling your muscles to shake that bee off. Fast, right?
Well, let's actually look at the speeds of those racing signals. The sensory information, so the feeling of the bee on your foot, travels up to your brain at over 240 kilometers per hour. But here is the amazing part. The return motor signal telling your foot to shake, that travels at more than 320 kilometers per hour. Your brain's outgoing response is literally faster than the incoming alert.
So the crucial point here is this. We live in an era of supercomputers and advanced artificial intelligence, right? Yet no computer on Earth has your brain's incredible biological ability to cope with the sheer amount of information constantly flooding in from your eyes, ears, and all your other sensory organs. It really is the ultimate processor.
But, raw processing power and speed are really only part of the story, because the brain isn't just reacting to the present moment, it's preparing for tomorrow. So how exactly does your brain allow you to learn things that you're going to use in the future? The answer is honestly one of the most remarkable features of our biology. The actual physical structure of your brain changes every single time you have a new thought, remember a fact, or learn something new. Your brain is absolutely not a static object. It is constantly rewiring and reshaping itself based on your experiences. Think back to when you were a kid. Riding a bike seems completely impossible at first, right? You wobble, you fall over, the coordination just isn't there. But as you practice, your brain sends those specific bike riding messages again and again. Through that repetition,
The physical structure adapts, the actions are learned, and suddenly you are able to ride a bike easily from then on. You literally rebuild your brain to become a bike rider. Now, we know that how quickly we learn things definitely varies from person to person, but understanding that our brain physically adapts when we learn leads us to a highly practical question. Are there things we can do to help us learn faster? Can we actually optimize this whole process?
Well, the answer is yes, and the method might actually surprise you. It turns out that physical exercise is one of the best tools we have for faster learning. Now, we've always known that exercise that makes your heart beat faster is fantastic for your body, and we know it can help improve your mood. But the direct effects of exercise on learning, that's been a bit of a hidden secret until recently.
Scientists have recently discovered exactly why this happens. They found that for a period of time after you've exercised, your body produces a specific chemical. And this chemical basically acts as a biological hack. It actually makes it easier for your brain to learn and retain information. You are physically priming your brain to soak up knowledge.
So let's look at how you can use this in real life. Say you are stuck on a homework problem that just feels way too difficult to solve. Instead of sitting there staring at the page and getting super frustrated, get up, go outside and play a game of football, or just get your heart rate up somehow. Then come back and try the problem again while your brain is bathed in those learning-enhancing chemicals. You just might discover that you're suddenly able to solve it.
Your brain is without a doubt the most complex, adaptable, and brilliant tool in the universe, and now you know exactly how to give it an extra boost. So what impossible problem will you solve next once you get your body and your brain in motion? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep learning.